shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
This morning, the nation is still reeling from the assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump at his rally in Pennsylvania. The new information we are learning about the investigation as the Republican National Convention is set to begin today.
And in a rare address from the Oval Office, President Biden tries to calm anxiety across the country.
We cannot, we must not go down this road in America.
His comments on the FBI's investigation into the gunman.
North Carolina delegates and lawmakers have traveled hundreds of miles to attend the Republican National Convention. We're hearing reaction from them and why the tone has shifted for this week.
And a heat alert, several of them. We have a heat advisory and just to our east, an excessive heat warning. I'll show you when it will start to feel like the triple digits.
Good morning, everyone. It is 4:30. We have you covered on all the new information coming into the newsroom about the investigation into the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. What a weekend. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. It is good to have you along here this morning. A lot to get to here. The heat alert on the way here. We are kind of in a rut right now. Certainly a midsummer deal. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with that alert.
We hit 100 yesterday. We'll likely hit 100 again today. And the heat index will make it feel more like 110 across our viewing area. Just to our east, it'll feel more like up to 115. And so especially our eastern counties, you're going to need to be especially careful out there for this afternoon. We'll see the same thing again tomorrow, but then the pattern begins to change. But this is how it'll feel today. By lunchtime, already feeling like 100 and then feeling like 108 to 110 this afternoon. Even at 8 p.m., it'll feel like 101. So this is going to be one of those days, just like yesterday, you really just can't mess around. It's 80 degrees already with a dew point of 72, so it's a very warm, stuffy, muggy, uncomfortable start this morning. 78 in Fayetteville, 77 in Rocky Mount, and 72 degrees in Roxborough. There's only a small chance of a thunderstorm. We had a few of those pop up yesterday, just a 20% chance again for us this afternoon with an actual high today of 100. Again, we're going to see this tomorrow, but we do have a big pattern change coming toward the end of the week with more rain and cooler temperatures. I'll show you coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. We continue to follow developments into the investigation of the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump as the Republican National Convention starts today. New this morning, we have learned the shooter was a member of a sportsman club in Pennsylvania. The facility has shooting ranges, including a rifle range of 200 yards. It's still unclear how and why the rooftop where he was left uncovered after the Secret Service says it identified it as a vulnerability days before the rally. We've also learned a local police officer saw the gunman on a rooftop during the rally, but the Butler County Sheriff says the office was unable to engage him.
We have team coverage for you this morning as state lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are responding to what happened. Plus, what you can expect today as the Republican National Convention is expected to begin in Milwaukee. Let's start with Michelle McConaughey in the Life Center right now. Michelle.
Yeah, we're going to take you live out to Milwaukee. This is a live picture right now. Two prominent North Carolina politicians are expected to speak this week, including U.S. Representative Richard Hudson as well as Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. We don't have their specific schedules yet. We are working to learn exactly when they will be there. Former First Lady Melania Trump is also expected to attend the RNC, although it's not clear whether she will speak there. Also, former GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley will speak at the convention. Senator Jim Bergen is also expected to be there. We're not sure if he's going to speak, but WRAL's Laura Levine will have more on that coming up for us.
Former President Donald Trump is already in Milwaukee ahead of the Republican National Convention. He was seen getting off his plane last night, less than 24 hours after surviving an assassination attempt. In a statement on social media, Trump said he considered delaying his trip to Wisconsin for the RNC by a few days, but he said ultimately he could not allow a potential assassin to change his schedule. Trump is not expected to speak at the convention until Thursday, which is the last day of the convention.
Certainly, as we head into a critical moment in the presidential campaign, North Carolina leaders are asking for peace. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us from the Legislative Building in Raleigh. Laura, tell us about some of the reaction from our state lawmakers.
Good morning, Jeff. Lawmakers are calling this situation a wake-up call. We know 2,400 delegates from across the country are coming together in Milwaukee this week, starting today, to officially and formally offer former President Trump the Republican Party presidential nominee. We know several North Carolina lawmakers, delegates are in attendance and have made that trip to Wisconsin, including Senator Jim Bergen. Bergen is confident political rhetoric will calm down moving forward. And meanwhile, lawmakers tell us who are out there right now that this year's convention has significantly heightened security compared to previous years. Bergen says this unprecedented event, as I've mentioned, is a wake-up call to everyone on both sides of the aisle.
It's up to us as voters to not accept that. So I'm challenging people. If people go negative, just tell them no. It's okay to disagree, but let's all try to find a good way to do it respectfully, and hopefully we can make a change in this country. And I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, so what we've known for this campaign to be a very heated campaign and election cycle, now the tone is shifting. Of course, we will continue to follow some of the reaction coming from our local lawmakers that's out there in Milwaukee. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
President Biden is calling for unity after a gunman tried to kill Trump. In an address from the Oval Office last night, Biden says the investigation into the motive of the shooter is ongoing.
We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions.
The president ended by calling on Americans to unite as one nation despite differing political views.
We spoke with Democratic State Representative Brandon Lofton in Mecklenburg County minutes after President Biden's speech to get his reaction.
I thought he immediately struck the correct tone by unequivocally stating that violence has no place in our politics, period.
Lofton also said what happened was not just an attack on a former president, but on democracy itself. Tonight, Lester Holt will sit down with President Biden for an exclusive one-on-one interview, and you can watch a preview on NBC Nightly News tonight at 6:30. You can see the full unedited interview in a primetime special at 9 o'clock on WRAL. Then stay with us for special coverage of the Republican National Convention starting at 9:30.
NBC News has learned from two sources the rooftop from where the gunman opened fire at the rally was identified by the Secret Service as a potential vulnerability days before the event. Take a look at this map of the shooting scene in Butler, about 35 miles north of Pittsburgh. The rally took place on the grounds of the Butler Farm Show. This is where the stage was set up, and on the roof of this building is where the Secret Service had snipers. They had a pretty good vantage point. The gunman managed to get to the roof of another building, and it's about 400 feet from the stage where Trump was standing.
Investigators continue to search the home of the shooter. Last night in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, a law enforcement official said there was explosive material found inside. The FBI also said bomb-making materials were found inside the car the shooter drove to the rally Saturday. Law enforcement say Thomas Crook's parents are cooperating with the investigation.
We are learning more about the man killed during the shooting. Corey Comprator was a husband and a father of two girls. He was also a firefighter. Pennsylvania's governor said Comprator was at the rally with his family. He said he shielded his family when shots rang out and that he died a hero. The firefighter worked with the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Department. In a statement on Facebook, the department said, Corey will be greatly missed by all who knew him. Corey, rest easy, brother, and we will take it from here. 57-year-old David Dutch and 74-year-old James Copenhaver were also injured. They are in critical but stable condition.
Investigations continue into the plan and response from Secret Service during the assassination attempt on former President Trump. Critics of the Secret Service's actions say security planning at Trump's rally was poor. WRAL spoke to former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker about the Secret Service's response in the moment the shots began to ring out.
They have to plan for that sort of thing, and they have to know what to do. It looked like a lot of chaos around the car, a lot of chaos getting him off. A lot of agents looked like they didn't know what to do.
The FBI is leading an investigation into the Secret Service's actions, and the head of the Secret Service is also expected to testify at a hearing with the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability 1 week from today.
A political party headquarters was vandalized in Carteret County over the weekend. Democratic Party Chair Katie Tumberland said in a social media post she was called Sunday morning in response to vandalism at the Democratic Party office downtown. She wrote that at some time during the previous evening, someone threw rocks and a concrete planter into the front window. Police are investigating.
Coming up in 10 minutes, we will hear from a former classmate of the gunman, and we have much more on WRAL.com, including the protests expected today outside the RNC. Plus, how the man who died in the shooting spent his final moments protecting his family.
Summer break has come to an end for Cumberland County's year-round students. About 15 school buses are expected to return to the roadways this morning, bringing kids back to school. Cumberland County's Board of Education made an agreement with local law enforcement last week to supply school resource and traffic control officers to schools. Now each municipality will have their own officers as SROs with unincorporated areas being covered by the sheriff's office, who confirm they are ready to serve year-round schools in the county.
Reaction is pouring in from around the world after Saturday's shooting at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania. The message from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
And people in Texas are demanding answers as thousands are still without power days after Hurricane Beryl hit the area. When power companies say the issue will be fixed.
And this is a live look at North Hills on this Monday morning. We are expected to hit 100 degrees today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will tell us when we could see some relief from the heat.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:44, and our big story again today is the heat. We have a heat advisory in effect for our viewing area. It'll feel like 110 this afternoon, and a little closer to the coast, just east of our viewing area, it's an excessive heat warning, feeling like up to 110. This is a look at our hour-by-hour heat index. By the middle of the afternoon, it could easily feel like 108 to 110. Actual high temperature today, right around 100. So it's another day you really need to take it easy, and we're going to copy and paste today to tomorrow. But then things are going to change for us. We take a look at Apex this morning, and skies are clear, but it is 78 in Tarboro, it's 80 in Goldsboro right now, 75 in South Hill, 76 in Irwin, it's 80 in the Triangle. Out walking the dog this morning, it feels pretty oppressive, and it could be dangerously hot later on this afternoon.
This is a live look for you right now in Milwaukee, where the Republican National Convention begins today. Coalition to March is a group planning to demonstrate outside the convention today, and they say their plans have not changed after the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Omar Flores, the lead organizer of the protest, says he expects about 5,000 people at his group's march today. WRAL is on top of all things Republican National Convention for you. We will have updates from the convention on YouTube and on our website, WRAL.com.
A North Carolina lawmaker will be leading the Pledge of Allegiance at the RNC. House Representative Jared Lowry is a former Marine and is a member of the Lumbee tribe. He's also an alternate delegate at the convention this week. Lowry tells WRAL he feels an extra sense of pride in leading the Pledge of Allegiance, given what's happened.
You have to get it right, and there's a lot of weight that I feel because it's a moment where we can all be united and do something together, regardless of your party, regardless of any type of affiliation you have. You know, all the way back in elementary school, we still said the Pledge of Allegiance because America is the one thing that united us together.
Lowry tells WRAL he's set to give that Pledge of Allegiance at 5 p.m.
World leaders are also reacting to the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he was shocked and horrified at the news.
This wasn't just an attack on Donald Trump. This was an attack on a candidate for the presidency of the United States. This was an attack on America. It was an attack on democracy. It was an attack on all the democracies.
French President Emmanuel Macron called the shooting a tragedy for our democracies, and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau posted on social media that political violence is never acceptable.
And we're learning more about the young man who opened fire at Trump's rally. A former classmate of Thomas Matthew Crook says he was bullied and didn't fit in.
He wasn't like with the clique, so he was always had a, I guess, target on his back.
What do you mean by that?
Just being like bullied.
Crooks was 20 years old, and this upcoming election would have been the first presidential election he was old enough to vote in. Investigators say so far they haven't found any evidence on social media or other writings by Crooks that might help identify his motive.
Former President Trump's campaign has started a GoFundMe page to raise money for the victims shot during the rally. One person died, 2 others were wounded. Trump's campaign national finance director issued a statement that says the former president authorized the account so people can financially help the families. As of this morning, more than $3.5 million has been donated.
What happened over the weekend has the nation on edge. We asked Republican strategist Jonathan Felts how he thinks a divided American electorate will react.
Well, I think this, could go one of 2 ways. It could really ramp things up in a major way, or it could be a reset button for American politics. President Trump came out this morning with a call for unity. It was a very measured statement, something that folks in the past might not have expected. And I think he was very sincere with it, and I think he's really trying to rise. He really is rising to the moment right now.
Felts also says that in the U.S., politicians are expected to be out in the public, meeting people directly at their own risk, and he doesn't see that changing.
4 people are dead, 10 others are injured after a mass shooting at a birthday party in Birmingham, Alabama. This happened Saturday night outside a nightclub. Police say a fight broke out inside the club, and then soon after, at least one person drove by and fired shots from the street into that club. So far, no one has been arrested.
The governor of Texas wants answers on why much of Houston is still without power following Hurricane Beryl. Governor Greg Abbott says he wants the Texas Public Utility Commission to investigate CenterPoint Energy, which supplies power to customers in Houston. The nation's 4th largest city still has more than 270,000 homes and businesses without electricity. Abbott says he wants the commission to investigate the delayed response and what can be done to fix it. CenterPoint says 90% of the power should be back by some point today. Still, it has been days in that heat wave that they've been without power. We're certainly thankful for our air conditioning. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Our AC will be working overtime again today.
It will. I tell you, at my house, mine cannot keep up. I'll set it to something and it can't even reach that. It's just really been, such a hot weekend. We have 2 more days of this intense heat. We take a live look at Raleigh. We're mostly clear right now, but 80 degrees with a dew point of 72. So that's a very hot and sticky air mass already to start with. And we'll be up to up to around 95 already by lunchtime. We do have the top of the tower lit in blue for clear skies. It might be a few clouds that come streaming in, but today will be mostly sunny to partly cloudy. The big story, of course, is that we have a heat advisory. It'll feel like up to 110. The purple area, just east of our viewing area, is an excessive heat warning where it could feel like up to 115. So it's another one of those days you just don't want to mess around. Take a look at Bingo Demisive's photo from yesterday. You can see that sun just looks really hot, doesn't it? That photo from Durham. Thank you for sending us that. Go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers. We would love to see some of your photos as well. 100 degrees today in Raleigh, 101 in Durham, 100 in Fayetteville. We hit 100 yesterday in Raleigh as well. And of course, that's very close to the record high. The record high is 99. Tomorrow, 99, and the record is 101. So both days, we're going to be very close to record highs. Of course, it feels tropical. Our dew point's way up at 72. It's likely to feel like that all the way through Friday, but we do have some big changes coming our way. We take a look at our high heat. Tomorrow's high 99 will feel more like 110, and then Wednesday it feels like 107. Thursday, our high is 90. It's still going to feel like triple digits, but we start Thursday with a better chance for rain, and we do have some highs in the 80s to show you in the 7-day forecast. But in the meantime, our heat risk is on the extreme side for Monday and Tuesday. It's major Wednesday, and it does begin to ease up for us a little bit on Thursday. One of the things to remember as we're dealing with this intense heat is that darker colors absorb more heat. So you want to stay away from the asphalt if you're out walking your dog. Keep your dogs, especially during the afternoon. If you walk them in the evening right after work, you want to make sure that you're, even on the sidewalk, it's not going to feel as hot as it will feel right there on the asphalt. And of course, you want to avoid wearing darker clothes when you're outside. That'll help to keep you cooler. But really staying inside is going to be your best bet. High pressure building in, cold front closer to the coast, and we're just looking at a lot of humidity with some sunshine helping helping to fire up a few isolated thunderstorms this afternoon right after lunchtime. We saw a few yesterday, especially clustered over around Rocky Mount and Wilson. It's just about a 20% chance for today. But look at the big changes that start on Thursday. Look at those highs. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and a lot more rain to go along with it. I'll show you how much we could see later in the week coming up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Argentina has secured another Copa America championship, this time over Colombia. We'll show you highlights, including the chaos outside the stadium that delayed the game.
And the Olympic torch has officially made it to Paris. We'll tell you about the schedule for the rest of its journey ahead of the opening ceremony.